Welcome to the historic Windrush Square, so called because it took its name from the Caribbean migrants who came on the SS Windrush to this country in 1948. And why are we here? We're here to tell you our story, the experience of our mother who lived in this country for 15 years, and to tell you our struggle and the strategies that we used as a team in order to achieve some success. I'm Monica.
I am Freddie. I'm Noel. Howdy, I'm Philip.
And I just want to tell you the background to our story. Our parents came here in the 1950s. Our father came here in 1955. Mum joined him in 1957. And they got married in 1958 and lived here for 15 years. So our parents were residents of this country. And in 1972, they returned to Jamaica. Since then, Mum has come on several visits to the UK, and the last 2 visits she was refused a visa to enter this country. And we decided that as a team, as a family, that we would take up the fight in order to ensure that she had, first of all, the right to enter this country, of which she was a citizen. She worked here, made contributions, paid taxes. And what a fight that was. And we just want to share with you our own journey. So the first thing is that we had to work together as a team. So this wasn't just me, Monica, or Freddie, or Noel, or Philip fighting this fight. We decided that the first port of call was to make contact with our MP.
So my experience was to identify my MP. And that wasn't too difficult. There are a number of really great websites that you can go onto that help you to identify, just by putting in your postcode or your address, you're able to identify who the MP is, who your local representative is. So that was fairly easy. So I wrote to my MP, just briefly outlining our story, our concerns, and seeking some help from her. Sarah Jones is the MP, is the Labour MP for the area that I'm in. And I got back a response that was a bit surprising. She quoted a very confusing protocol claiming that MPs can only represent constituents who are living in their area, and so she advised me to contact my mother's MP in Jamaica, who would then be the person that would make contact with the Home Office on her behalf. I was taken aback by her response, and I left it a couple of days before I framed a reply. And in my reply, I just posed some very simple questions. One, confirming that I am her constituent. I live in the area. I am registered on the electoral roll, and I am a taxpayer. And I just questioned whether, as a constituent, that her role and her responsibility was to represent my interests. I also questioned whether she was aware of the growing seriousness of this matter to do with the so-called Windrush scandal and the Windrush generation. And then thirdly, I invited her to just confirm to me if I had made a mistake and if I had approached her incorrectly, that she should then advise me who I should be speaking to in order to get some advocacy assistance for my mother. I quickly received an email arranging an appointment so that I could either come and see her or speak with her. She was now very open and very interested in our story, and thus began our journey to engage the local MP and to put pressure where pressure needed to be placed in order to have a good result.
Freddie, you had a different experience.
So my experience was that my MP didn't engage. She wasn't a part of this process at all. So that was one area of responsibility that we had. But another area of responsibility that I had was to coordinate our teleconference meetings. We weren't able to meet at the same location, literally. So we utilized teleconferencing calls to be able to schedule our meetings, and that was my responsibility in this process.
I also contacted the Home Office, which I received a much quicker response to that scenario, indicating that the information that I'd sent forth was received and would be dealt with, and I would receive a response in due course. The main thing I'd like to say about the whole experience was that all of us as a collective, each of us as individuals made a contribution, but it's all of us coming together as a collective which made a difference, and ultimately we were successful in getting the response that we needed for our mum's visa situation.
I cannot overstate how supportive my MP, Matt Western, was, the Labour MP in Leamington and Warwick was. His action was immediate, it was swift. I met with him and together we drafted a press release which was then released into the local papers. And this is where the pressure then took another step, because now we're not just talking to individual MPs and making contact with the Home Office. We are submitting written material that is published, not just in your local area, because the internet is now the great leveler. And so once a local story is published, it actually reaches the world. And we can say that the day on which the second story was published in our local paper, the Home Office responded immediately. I got 4 calls from the British High Commission in Jamaica asking us for a meeting, and I said, hang on, no, because the principle was that we would have a confab, a teleconference called by Freddie, and we would establish a position. No action was taken until we as a family had taken a position. We had a meeting with the Home Office, and I must say that the first meeting with a senior caseworker was not productive at all. She recited all the clauses of the various nationality acts. I was in a legal fog, I didn't understand, but it was only when the story hit the paper, okay, and our story was seen and heard and exposed by all, wrong was exposed, that's when the change came.
That's right.
That's when we saw the sea change. And as a result of our contacting our MPs, making contact with the Home Office, scores and scores of emails, having an interview with senior caseworkers at the Home Office, that's when things change. And I must say that the second senior caseworker from the MP, from the Home Office, was a completely different experience. He was respectful, he listened deeply, he promised to do everything in his power, and he did. And as a result of our collective action, the pressure that we exerted, the fact that we had our stories in the press, the Home Office changed its decision.
Must also mention the important role that the Black Cultural Archives has played in this, because in the midst of it all, the BCA have made, in conjunction with a number of barristers, have made some services available free of cost to members of the public who are seeking to, at whatever point you are, but seeking to engage and work with individuals. So I had the privilege of being able to come and have a 30-minute conversation with a barrister called Kirsten, who was really open, very helpful, supportive, and we shared a lot of information. Definitely do not give up when you come across some bureaucracy or some barriers that seem to suggest that help is not available. From our own experience, a combination of your MP getting your story together using online resources and just consistent effort will bring about good results.
And if you believe in prayer, because we're people of prayer, and we put this matter to God as well. And so it wasn't just the press and it wasn't just the pressure. We put our case to God as well, and we believe that in this case we were able to gain some success. So fight, my people, persevere, use the strategies that we have used, engage with your MP, write, put your story, go out and tell your story, make them hear you.